I think we're truthfully, and this is, I'm not trying to get clicks. Like, I really truly think that we are at a tipping point for sports gambling. You know, when I was growing up, sports for me were inspirational. Like, I would hear these stories of these athletes. So and so came up from, you know, this neighborhood and this rough childhood, and he was still able to make it. You know, I look at someone like LeBron James as a perfect example of that, right? Like, sports at its core for me is all about the storylines. It's all about the individual players, their personalities, their, you know, upbringings, their surroundings, who they are as people. And I think it's what makes sports so enjoyable. Now with sports gambling, like, everything is about numbers. Everything is about these, you know, will Joel Embiid hit his prop bet of 8.5 rebounds? And I think it's getting to a really ugly point. You know, I've had players on my podcast come on and say straight up, like, I've gotten death threats over, you know, not hitting my prop bet, or my team losing, or not covering the spread. And, like, it's like, what are we doing? Like what is all this leading towards? Like sports now have become like less about the storylines and about the players, and whether or not, like, you or your friends made money on a game. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to have fun from time to time, and you know, place a bet here and there if you want, but just the extent at which it's being just advertised, whether it's on ESPN or other, you know, sports media outlets. Pretty much every sports podcast is sponsored by you know, DraftKings or FanDuel, or one of these gambling sites, online gambling sites. And I think it's really dangerous. And I'll end on this note. Like, when I think about the kids who are growing up now and who are getting introduced to sports, like, what kind of message are you saying when you see LeBron James on the DraftKings ad, and ESPN, like, you know, in the middle of their live telecast, is showing the live betting lines of these games, and, you know, the live money lines, and now that little kid is going and asking their parents, like, you know, what's all this betting? What's all this gambling? Like, and we're introducing gambling to these kids instead of focusing on the storylines and the inspirational stories and the motivational stories, and just how awesome these players are. Like, we are now bringing all these players down to just numbers on a sheet, and whether or not you made money. I think that we're going to look back on gambling in, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later, but maybe in 10 to 15 years, the way we look back on big tobacco, and just how, you know, dangerous it was. And, you know, thankfully we came to our senses and we said, hold on, you know, smoking is actually pretty dangerous. But I truly think that this is another big tobacco moment, and that we are going to look back in 10 years and be like, how stupid were we, that we pushed sports gambling to where it's at now.